Hi there, welcome back. Um, my name is Kathy Powell. I'm with Poppin, Parents of the Panhandle Information Network, a program of Family Network on Disabilities, and we are going to be continuing our Making Your Case presentation with part 2 called Being an Advocate. Just a little bit about who we are. We are a 501c3, Family Network on Disabilities is, a nonprofit helping families across the state of Florida, helping them to understand special education. We are funded in part by the U.S. Department of Education, OSEP, Office of Special Education Programs, providing information, resources, and support to families and educators just like yourself in understanding that special education. FND's of national network of individuals of all ages who may be at risk, have disabilities, or have special needs in their families, professionals, and concerned citizens. We were founded in 1985 by a group of parents of children with disabilities who came together for mutual understanding and support and information sharing. And we are a grassroots organization for persons with disabilities and their families that is family-centered, just like you see on this slide, and 501c3. One thing I like to share about FND is the majority of our board of directors, program staff, field staff are all either related to someone with a disability or have a child with a disability. So that really helps us provide that personal, technical support to families and share not only experiences but evidence-based information. Okay, one thing I'll share is that we are not attorneys or doctors, so we're not interpreting the law or providing medical advice to any families. So let's jump right in. Like I shared, this is the second part to Making Your Case called Being an Advocate. In its simplest terms, here's what you need to know to be an advocate for change. And really, it starts with planning. Planning is key to any successful advocacy effort. It happens before any direct action, and before planning comes a good understanding of what needs to be put in the plan. So we are going to look at what we're going to be covering in this little agenda. We talk about the 3 A's of advocacy, and I'll let you know what those A's stand for in just a minute. The importance of knowing who to talk to, knowing your key players in the district, understanding the rules, and knowing the issues. Okay. As you start to learn about the legislative process, you will hear even more lingo. I know there's a lot of lingo in special education. You hear even more lingo as it pertains to legislation. But you'll also see some, we'll define some of that lingo. You also see some definitions in the coming slides. So just like terms specific to special education, well, now there's more terms that you'll add to your language. So let's take a look at the 3 A's. As you see here, we have awareness, advancement, and action. Awareness basically means that you need to learn who you need to talk to. Who are those key players, per se? Which district or state are they from? For legislators, are you actually a constituent of that particular district? If not, who is actually your representative? Which district or state does the legislator represent, basically? Representatives and senators at both the state and national level also represent distinct groups of people and primarily devote their energy to the requests and needs of those individuals. So it's important to know who your constituent of, what district. Learn about their interests so that you can frame your message in a way that is bound to get their full attention. And we'll talk more about once you visit legislators, but you're going to want to know the best time to get to know them, when they're going to be in their hometown, back home, and not in Tallahassee during legislative days. You definitely want them less distracted by the business of Congress or the legislature. So know when is a good time to visit them. And then when to go to Tallahassee or Washington, should you feel that you're ready for that. In that way, if you do get to this milestone, they'll know your face at home, back home, in a more informal meeting. Okay? Know the seniority scale that exists. So you should ask which, definitely which party does the legislator belong to. Your legislators have been elected to represent you in your interests, regardless of your party affiliation. However, it's important to know their party affiliation to determine if they are in the majority or even the minority in the legislature. Because then you'll know what kind of weight they carry for your topic of interest. Advancement. By getting involved, you can help advance a movement. I was calling it topic. Movement is an even better word. Or even affect policy change. So know where the member stands on these issues that concern you. Another question you might want to ask yourself, or to take notes on, is what is the elected official's legislative record? What does he or she care about? Most legislatures have a record reflected through votes, legislation they've introduced, and of course, co-sponsoring legislation, sometimes with another representative that they've introduced by other members, on virtually every issue under the sun. So that will be easy to find online. Which committees do they sit on? What do they serve? Are they members assigned to certain committees based on their interests, their expertise, district, their state? Do they have seniority? And members usually serve on 1 to 3 committees and are often assigned based on similar criteria. And don't forget district staff. When you meet with them in their office, look at their photos. Know in advance if you went to school with them, or attend the same house of worship, or maybe even share the same hobbies. While you don't want to waste too much valuable meeting time chatting about, personal issues, small talk before or after a meeting, or during a tour of, let's say, a local facility, really does put a legislator or staff member at ease and begin to build common bonds that might develop into relationships. When you meet with them in their office, like I said, look at their photos. Know in advance, if you attended any of the same places, without being creepy, obviously. You don't want to spend too much time looking at someone's photos. But okay, so let's go on to the next one. Oh, action. Sorry. And I think I covered some of this. Make contacts, write letters, call or visit. Basically, all that I talked about is just the actionable, is that you're going, you're visiting, you're calling, you're writing letters, whether in the district or engaging in discussions. You could be going to town halls, it could be exchanging phone calls. Just be a resource and share information. Be willing to take action. Okay? And when I say share information, try to establish yourself as a helpful expert that their staff can turn to when they have questions about an issue. Making sure to provide not only useful but balanced information. And that's key, and basically it informs and establishes you of that person they can trust and turn to, but make sure that what you're providing them is well researched. Talked about town hall meetings. Great way to bring your issues to their attention. Speak with them personally. You can also invite them to events. Create opportunities for legislators or staff to be seen at community events. But remember, the relationships are two-way streets. Legislators need to get reelected and need to get good media. They love photo ops to enhance their reelection efforts. So be mindful of this and invite them to well-attended events, especially during the electoral season. It will not go unappreciated. Okay, so most importantly, and I touched on the importance of delivering good, well-researched information, and that really gets to the core of honesty and credibility. Basically, gold in this arena. Get it out of your head if you're going to do anything different. Because your credibility is very important, and there are going to be opportunities where if you share something important, especially a personal story or some data, legislators would love to share your story, but they want to be able to trust it. Okay.